Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Look at that. Here we go again. Another fucked up night, but we're going to have a good night. All right, screw roll call. Thank you, Paramar, for letting me know, and everybody else for letting me know. And I had my mic on mute because I was recording Swamp Dweller. Courtney, I cannot see you. I cannot see you. Wow, so many technical issues tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Anyways. Give me a second. Try that again. Wow. Wow. Been a day. It's been a day.
Are you ready for your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's really happening in the news. We're together, friends. Oh. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news flyer. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Join us September 18th through 20th for Caribou Con right here in the heart of British Columbia. British Columbia's only paranormal conference this year. Come to us at cariboucon.com to get your tickets. We have a great show tonight. Some amazing UFO stories going on right now. A lot of politics, a lot of jockeying. Courtney Marchesani is going to break it all down for us the next couple of hours. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will join us for another spooky story. Follow that up with Terry Hall, who will be here for the weird news of the week. All right, let's get right to it. This is one of my favorite shows that we do each and every time she is on. Courtney Marchesani is an author, researcher, and citizen journalist whose work explores the intersection of consciousness, psychology, anomalous experiences, and the rapidly evolving world of UFO and UAP disclosure. Holding a master's degree in mind, body, and medicine, she first gained recognition through her book, Four Gifts of the Highly Sensitive, before expanding her research into government transparency, whistleblower testimony, and political landscape surrounding the UFO phenomena. Her writing examines both the human impact of extraordinary experiences and the broader cultural implications of what disclosure may bring. She is one of the most truthful, and I mean that. I don't use the word truth because I think it's thrown around way too easily in the UFO world, but I believe Courtney is one of the most truthful UFO researchers going today. Let's bring her on in. Courtney Marchesani, we love having you back on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm glad to be back. Thanks
I'm
for
glad
having me.
that you are here too, because Lord knows tonight has been just a weird night around here. And yeah, so I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. We're not going to waste any time here. Okay, there is a lot of UFO news going on, but the one thing I want to start with is we are now 2 weeks past the last tranche of UFO files. Nothing has really been said about when the fourth tranche is coming out, if it's going to come out. This is getting weird. That third tranche was, I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 2.5.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wondering, Courtney, what is going on here in the minds of the public here regarding this lack of transparency, shall we call it?
It's funny when you say that from the minds of, I go into my advertising brain and I think of that famous commercial. I don't know if you guys had it in Canada or not, but it was from the mines of Minolta. Do you remember that? Did you have that commercial?
I don't think
From
we
the
had that one.
mines of Minolta. Well, I have to tell you, just so much going on. I mean, I just have piles and piles here of notes from the Disclosure Forum, last week when they did their DC event, from the press release from David Grush being there on the steps of the House while he gave his delivery and his press conference. Of course, the tranches of documents that have come out. So to answer your question, I thought it was very interesting that while David Grush was giving his press conference and there was a Q&A section about the NHI, how many NHI, weigh in on the NHI, he said that there were corporeal beings, bipedal, which means real physical two-legged creatures walking around as NHI. And he also said plasmoid sentient intelligence. Okay. So I thought that was interesting because when that tranche of documents came out, we saw plasmoids. We saw orange fiery balls. We've seen in that tranche of documents 2 over a pond, right? The Zimbabwe case is getting more attention from that tranche. So there have been some cases that came out from that last one, but they're not nearly as. I think we should start looking at all of these documents as like, do they move the needle or not? Right? That's where I think they come down in the whole scientific community. Do they move us forward? Do they move it ahead? Are they definitive? What other science is behind these documents or not? And so I think they're, it's a wet blanket a little bit on the whole thing.
Are they playing us? Let's just get to the right heart of the matter. Let's drive the stake into our UFO hearts. Are they playing us with all of these idiocies that they are releasing? And by idiocies, I mean a Walter Cronkite interview with astronauts is not evidence of the files. AI renderings of pictures and videos is not what we asked for. We planned for so much regarding these releases, and the first 2, although weak, I loved them. I really did. Okay, but I just had this feeling that we were going to end up getting all excited for Christmas morning, and instead of that bicycle that we wanted, we got socks.
No doubt. I mean, I think people with the tranches anyway, I think people definitely feel that they got baited and switched. And the reason why is because, there was this letter from Burleson and the Secrets Task Force that went to the Department of War saying, we want, the 46 videos, high fidelity videos to be released. They've seen them in their committee, and they want them to be released to the general public. So I think where people felt maybe they got hoodwinked, for lack of a better word, is that there was all this strong language and a big push to have this, government be accountable and allow the general public to see what they've seen in a private committee. And what we got was weak sauce, is what we used to call it back in the day, weak sauce. And not only that, the aliens.gov website was a slap in the face to people who had been on the disclosure
Huge.
trail for many years. It was a slap in the face.
I would totally agree with you on that. 100%. And I think it was a real sign of ignorance and in my opinion, a real flop for the government. Like that was bad PR.
Oh,
It was really bad PR. And whoever thought about that, if they worked for me, I'd fire them. I
well,
really
Rubio, has said that these people took a grave risk when he's talking about the whistleblowers. They took a grave risk to themselves, their families, to come out, right, and whistleblow on these programs, and then to pull that kind of a thing, a stunt. It's just disgraceful to those people who came forward and gave testimony, not only to Rubio, but to the Senate Select Intelligence Committee and other committees. So, yeah, I mean, those people must have been so deflated seeing that come out. And, people in the media were making it this big, uproar about it, and all this is going to come out, not knowing. And then, oh my God, it was an embarrassment. So, yeah, I think people are definitely feeling let down by all that. It's a
here's my
culmination.
theory.
Yeah,
Courtney,
go ahead.
here's my theory, and I want to know what you think about it. I think that after tranche number 2, when they released aliens.gov and it wasn't about UFOs, then they get that really, really weak tranche number 3. I have a feeling, and once again, it's just a theory, that this is the start to frustrate the media to stop talking about this topic. Because the minute this topic goes cold or stupid, the media is going to drop it like a hot potato. And the minute the media drops it, the public will drop it, because that's how the cycles work. That way they can shove this topic back under the conspiratorial rug, start blaming little greed men and unemployed people with no dental plan who wear a lot of tinfoil. Okay. And they can start putting this back where they feel it belongs, which is everybody needs to shut up about this. We don't need to talk about these stupid conspiracies, and let's get life back to normal. That's my theory.
Well, I'll point a couple things out. After the press conference, when Rob Jones was walking with David Grush on the side street to their car, I guess they were together, TMZ reporter came up to Grush and kind of got in his space and was like, hey, and he was peppering questions to him after the press conference. And Grush said, this is the only conspiracy I know of, right? The UFO thing. And he was peppering questions about, the missing scientists and other things. And so I noted that, when I saw the TMZ reporter go at him. But then I saw the disclosure forum, and I saw something different in the forum. Now it's the same people, right? It's the same people that have been out working on this issue in various organizations and public facing, like Chris Mellon and Rear Admiral Gallaudet. Kirk McConnell joined in, who was on the Armed Senate Select Committee, powerful committee. He was there taking questions from a legal standpoint, which was good. And Merrick von Rennenkamp was there. So these guys have been around on the scene. And what I saw from their forum panel was basically a shift from, we know that UFOs are real. Okay, there was no question about it. They're coming from a different place. But they're saying the government needs to be accountable for this. So there's been a shift, a very clear shift of, we're not pushing anymore for UFOs to be made real. We're coming in with the coming in position that UFOs are real, because the government has pretty much said that. But now they're pushing for transparency and accountability with the government. So I have seen a shift, to answer your question, from, are UFOs real? I do believe they're in a different position now coming in. And I don't think they'll be able to put that back. The media will be able to put that back in the bottle. No. So I differ from you. I differ from you on your opinion there.
Well, I do a nightly hit on WABC in New York. with Walter Sterling. And one of the things that Walter does, and Walter talks to about 1.5 million Americans a night. And the reason why I bring that up is Walter also has on Ross Coulthard quite frequently, a few times a week. And so between Ross and myself, even though we're never on the air together, we're on at different times, they get, his audience gets a pretty big UFO landscape. Plus he takes a lot of callers and they are able to call in about UFOs. And one of the things that Walter has been saying lately is there's too much talk and not enough evidence. We hear Tim Burchett talking tough. We hear Eric Burleson talking tough. We hear Lou Elizondo talking tough. We hear David Grush talking tough. But when it comes to evidence or actually bringing things out, we get Walter Cronkite videos. Okay. So at some time, with the lack of media knowledge in this, at some point in time, there has to be a put up or shut up moment. And do you think we are drawing clearer to that? Because I can tell from just listening to one show across the United States that the frustration is becoming real. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Where is it?
Yeah, I think that right there is the mantra, right, of everybody, of the American public. Where is the evidence, but also where is our money going? I don't know if you saw this, and I'm going to get back to my first thought answering your question, but I wonder if you saw that this guy who just got caught, a former CIA agent, did you see that he got caught embezzling like 40 million in gold bars, luxury watches from
I
a
did
SAP?
hear about this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when Grush is in the press conference, okay, talking to probably there were probably like 50 to 75, maybe 100 of us, but I doubt in that little press circle. He reinforced that billions of dollars of alleged slush funds monies that he found are at stake here. That's part of what he's saying about government accountability and around these programs. So there's one aspect of the money. And then of course this David Rush guy, the senior official who got caught taking 40 trillion out of a SAP, makes that point that Grush made even more painful for the American public. So there's billions at stake. That's what the American public wants to know. That's what Burchett keeps saying, that they've never been able to balance the budget. So if they were able to push forward with their accountability stance and show that money, people would be very happy about that in terms of UFO transparency. And that,
Go ahead.
but that seems to be where the shift is going. And it seems like they're working in a concerted effort, these groups and David Grush and the Disclosure Foundation, more towards policy and accountability. What I see the Scientific Advisory Board doing, this new council, is to do the scientific stuff. So they're moving things and kind of doing a division of labor. That's what I see.
So a few weeks ago, Tim Burchett made a real interesting comment during one of his pressers when he was asked. He said, "This isn't about UFOs. This isn't about life in the solar system. This is about where is the money going." So if it is about where the money is going, what do UFOs have to do with it? What does life out in space have to do with it?
It seems to me it's changed. The language has changed. They're talking about the true nature, okay? In this disclosure forum that they did, I noticed some very salient points being revisited, talking points that kept coming up. First of all, they're talking about the disclosure wall and what's behind it. What's behind the disclosure wall? They're talking about it like fire, right? Like Prometheus and us being handed some gift from some intelligence, and they're changing the language from ET. Now, ET and extraterrestrial is still in there, but they're also talking about interdimensionals. These are the two talking points on NHI that have come up repeatedly. So things have changed. I'm seeing a change in the winds and what they're talking about. And they're talking about the true nature of the phenomenon. So I think that it's not necessarily about life in the universe right now. I mean, that's certainly on the table. It's part of their hypothesis moving forward, but it's not the complete picture. They're talking about the true nature of the phenomenon being something unknown. And not only that, at the forum, they talked about harnessing whatever this is, this unknown X value, the fire, and the gift of what we're being given, to be given to American R&D, research and development, to catalyze or to bring up our R&D in our country for economic reasons, for economic stimulus. So I heard that and I was like, what the, and the reason why is because American R&D supposedly has had this in the legacy programs in contractors' hands for 80 years. So make that make sense to me. How does disclosure, if that's what disclosure is, really matter if we're just trying to get it into the American R&D again? That just seems circular to me.
It doesn't matter. That's the thing. And in my opinion, once again, nothing journalistic about this, just my opinion, and it's my show, so Dave's rules. I wish that were the case. I wish that were the case. But
run with it, Dave. I'm down with Dave's rules any day of the week.
I think you know what? I think every time we come to a line in the sand, they move the line. And sometimes they're moving the line crookedly. Sometimes they're moving the line diagonally. Sometimes they're pushing it back towards the people. And most of the time, they're just erasing it and drawing it out again. I don't even think they know what they're looking for. And frankly, as somebody who is involved in this field, and I may not say much online, but I'm always watching and I'm always kind of paying attention to what's going on. Sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I get it right. But the one thing that I would say about this is I don't think any of them have a clue what the hell they're talking about anymore. Really, because it's the same people saying the same stories. And look, I'm not saying this as a shot to Gary Nolan or Avi Loeb or David Grush or any of the people who are the players here. Your actions are going to be determined by your ability to actually focus on something and bring out a result.
Focus on one thing. Focus on the damn 46 videos that you said we were going to get. Now, I mark my words, if they don't release those 46 videos that the secret task force has said and asked for, and if they put those through the whole scientific advisory council and make this whole hoopla and have them go through all this whole filtering system that Chris Mellon is talking about, people are going to be really upset. They're going to be really upset, and they're going to see this whole thing as mishigas, because it makes no sense. Why not give the public the 46 videos that you promised you would? Why make it go through this whole effort to go through a whole nother governing body when the American people can see it now? If they did that, it would restore trust. So I also think we should segue into what I said 2 years ago, and I put this out online, and not many people picked it up, but it's an important thing. 2 years ago, I said that Lou Elizondo, in the age of disclosure, right, and in the media planning for that documentary to come out, he was offered, this was rumor, he was offered a senior executive service position as part of that media platform, depending on who got elected. We didn't know if it was going to be Trump. Go ahead.
We'll be holding that thought for Courtney Marchesani, because in the next half hour, we're going to get into a lot of Lou Elizondo, the legacy programs, a beef with Ross Coulthart, and UFO versus UAP comes to light once again.
Did
All
you
right,
see
we're
in the
clear.
news that Did you see in the news that John Brennan is going to sue the Trump administration to preserve records? That just came out today.
Oh, wow.
It's a big deal because they were going to investigate him, and of course, he's the one that put John Kiriakou, the CIA officer, in jail. So
Right.
that's one for you to follow. Yeah.
Might have to get John back on the show.
Did you get John Kiriakou on the
Yeah,
show?
we've had him a few times over the years.
I reached out to him twice. No answer.
Since he's kind of blown up on social media, and good for him, he's a little bit harder to get a hold of now.
Wow. You
Yeah.
should have him back on to discuss that. That's a big deal.
What was I going to say to you? Oh, by the way, for our listening audience, okay, you could go to the Spaced Out Radio store right now, go into our shop, and find yourself a Friends Do Not Let Friends UAP t-shirt right now. Friends Do Not Let Friends UAP t-shirt. I'm actually thinking about sending Lou Elizondo one, right? After his comments yesterday.
Oh, God. That's hilarious. I love it.
Yep. Friends Do Not Let Friends UAP. Remember that. Just so you know, everybody in who's coming in, normally I say hi to everybody. I had a little bit of a technical mishap at the beginning of the show. Didn't get to say hi to anybody, and it would take me forever to keep typing up everybody's name. So I am showing love, but just not in the chat room tonight.
All the love, spreading the love. Jazz hands.
What time does it get dark there right now?
Never.
Oh, you're at the 23-hour point right now?
We just passed solstice, so we're gonna have all night sun until like September. We lose 5 minutes a day now going into the winter.
Yeah, we're sunny until about 11 o'clock right now.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
11. That's
So
still
10
pretty
your time.
late. Yeah. That's still very energizing. No, I'm in Alaska, Morwick.
Wilford Brimley, how you doing? How's the diabetes tonight? Please let us know. We got about 2 minutes.
Jessica, thank you. Love it. Loving all the positivity.
Courtney has seen UFOs before.
When I saw the whole plasmoid orange fiery balls come out in the tranche 3, I was like, that's what I saw. And it came down at close range. You know that, right? It hovered over my truck and I
Yes.
continued driving, and then they came close to the truck. I mean, it was wild. So yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them at close range.
I always love how excited you are when you're on this show. Yeah, the orbs are weird. The orbs are very weird.
Yeah.
The closest UFO I have seen is probably on the ground 20 yards away. That was at our Flight 21 in 2023. And it was shit brown color.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine was like a reddish orange, and it dropped down in a series of them, and then the last one split in two. It split in two. And then it went on either side of the truck like it was pacing us, monitoring us. It was wild. It was like it was intelligent. It was crazy.
Tim Senor has me on camera summoning in a UFO at Flight 21.
No way.
Yeah.
Can I see it when I'm down there?
I'll
this
have to
fall?
see. I'll see if I can get it from Tim. But yeah, we got 10 seconds. I'll tell you in the next break how that
Okay,
happened.
right on, right on.
All right, here we go, everybody. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for coming on in and listening in to Courtney Marchesani right here, right now. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Courtney Marchesani, citizen journalist, researcher, experiencer, psychologist, and she has really nice hair to boot. She is here to talk everything UFO. And right now, there is a big story kind of brewing and a little controversy once again around the former head of the ATIP program, Luis Elizondo. Seems to be battling with Ross Coulthart from News Nation, seems to be battling with David Grush. What is going on with Lou's crew?
Well, I have a little bit of an insider scoop from last summer. I talked to various people, and last summer I was told explicitly that there was this issue going on between Lou Elizondo and David Grush because of the skiff. They called it the skiff flu, if anybody remembers, last spring, coming into the summer. And so there were all these problems about getting Lou and David into a skiff. And so I had some sources weigh in on this. And this, I think what we're seeing now goes back to last summer. That's why I'm going back there. Because David Grush had called Jordan Flowers and Wang Yifeng, and he had told them both separately that Lou needed to get into the skiff and testify to the red meat, right? The red meat. And so people were like, what is he talking about? What's the red meat? What does David mean by the red meat? And nobody knew except David and Lou Elizondo. So there was this back and forth online at the time last summer with accusation being thrown that Burleson's office was trying to control the witnesses that were coming in and what they were supposed to say. So there were like legal things at stake, obstruction of justice, tampering with witnesses. So it became very incendiary at the time. So circle forward now to the present. And we're seeing this legacy program being brought up and Lou Elizondo's part in that. And it was, a News Nation reporter that came out and said, it's mixing up issues. And if Lou is to be getting this UAP czar role, which, as I was talking before we went to the break, 2 years ago, I broke that Lou was maybe going to be offered an SES position in the Trump administration if he got elected. Well, that seems to be happening now, or it's being brought up into the media that Lou will be hand chosen or hand picked for this UAP czar position, which would be the central figure of disclosure, right? So all these conversations are happening right now around this potential nomination or position in the Trump administration. And people are saying Lou's role was not clear in the past. So Ross brought this out in his reporting and said he believes it's making a division in the UAP and UFO community because Lou, because of his security clearance, hasn't been able to state what his real job was. So that's what's the contention around this whole legacy program aspect. And Lou has said he can't speak about certain parts of his job. And he's also said that, he's not mad at Ross for saying this. He respects him for his journalism and his reporting, but that he can't speak about what he actually did in his full capacity and his position. So it's still kind of up in the air. Was he part of the legacy program? Not. What aspect of it? And it really has hit people in the UAP community really hard, especially experiencers. They're really let down by this. So that's kind of
why would experiencers be let down by this?
because they feel that Lou maybe didn't state his clear role, and they feel misled. That's just what I've been hearing from people. They feel like they were misled, that he didn't clearly state what his role was or what his actual job was. Now he keeps saying, I was in the ATIP program, I was in the ATIP program, and being very clear about that and delineating where his job was. But Ross seems to have some inside knowledge, and he said, I know this from talking to people in the program, that Lou was part of it, or one aspect of it he managed, the legacy program. And he needs to be honest about that before he's a public facing person of disclosure.
So who is the real Lou? Do we have to go through this entire embattlement once again?
Why was information strategically withheld? That's one question. Why was information about his past work strategically withheld? Is it because of the crash retrieval program? He said in court, in a hearing, he had signed an NDA that he could not talk about crash retrievals. He said it. He said that in the hearing. I can't talk about this. He said, I can answer questions in a closed session, but I cannot publicly respond about crash retrieval program. He signed an NDA. So there's one aspect of it. Why was information strategically withheld from the public? So yeah, I think there will have to be a rehashing and taking a look at his employment and his jobs and his roles. I mean, there had been some allegations that Lou came in to clean up the OSAP and ATIP programs because of what was going on in there. That there was some element of tracking experiencers, tracking families. And so this is why some of the experiencers in the community are really upset. Because if that was part of his job, they don't think that this whole thing for immunity or amnesty should be allowed in Congress because there were crimes that were potentially committed. That's why they're upset.
Well, I mean, does Elizondo need to answer that, or do people above Elizondo need to answer that then?
Well, it's all about Clapper and Stephanie O'Sullivan, who, have been linked to these different offices and different disclosure efforts. So this has come out in the media, all right, that Clapper and O'Sullivan were doing certain types of crash retriever work in their jobs, but that's not been substantiated publicly. So yeah, it would have to go up the chain. Was Lou working for Clapper in that capacity in the crash retrieval program? Yes, we would need to go back and get that confirmed from the government. That has not been confirmed, as I understand it.
Wow. Courtney Marchesani is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. So, I mean, there was a documentary done a number of years ago called Who's Lou? And it was done and it went kind of all through Lou's life here. And a lot of people loved it. A lot of people absolutely ripped it apart. So the question is then, who is Lou Elizondo? I mean, if we have to answer this again, we know he's been the face of the franchise of ufology since about 2017. Now, where does this lead us? Where do we see this story going with him?
That was Manny, just so everybody knows. Manny 305 did that, documentary like piece, Who's Lou? And he got copyright strikes, right? So that was even taken down off the internet for months. I don't know how long he was embargoed, but he got it back up. And the thing that stood out to me about that Who's Lou documentary, the short, was that Lou and his wife moved at certain times, or his wife moved to like San Diego to be very close to the Lockheed home setup and Tom DeLonge's you know,
To the
place
stars.
where he was located. And so some of those timelines that Manny chased down were very revealing, I thought, about Lou's history. And other known people who are really not well liked in the UFO community have also made good points about what he was doing at different times. So I think it's a good point, and not everybody has seen those. Go and watch them to get up to speed if you haven't. But we also know that Lou was in the Immaculate Constellation report because Matthew Brown, when he was looking in that one War Games report, on the second page, it had Lou and the ATIP program in there as a program that had leaked to the public. So we know that, behind the scenes in the government, they were also saying Lou worked for ATIP. This information leaked out into the public. So there's two sides of this. There's the public scrutiny and the criticism about his timeline and his work. And then there's inside the government. Remember, after he left, he couldn't get his emails from the DOD. Had to file a lawsuit with Danny Sheehan to get his emails because they said he didn't even work there at the ATIP, right? That he wasn't even responsible for that program. So it depends on which part of the history you're talking about, because it's pretty comprehensive history.
It is very complex with this guy. And, look, there are people out there who will defend him in the UFO/UAP community until, their last breath. But I mean, it just seems that more and more when we look at Elizondo, it and I've had him on this show where I felt he was very candid and cordial and very forthright with what he could be. I have zero issue with him from a journalistic point of view. But there seems to be a lot of people who believe that this guy's a storyteller, that he is somebody who is talking out of both sides of his mouth, and it may lead to him getting a position within the government program.
Well, I think the fact that I knew about the position 2 years ago tells us all, right? One, that information was good, and two, it's been planned. It has been planned as part of the whole disclosure movement, including the age of disclosure, moving the government forward to accepting disclosure. I mean, this has all been planned. So I think the reason why there has been scrutiny recently is because there's this big push, right, at the disclosure forum, David Grush doing his press conference about government accountability. So I think where the disconnect is happening, this is just my own personal read as an independent person. I don't work for anyone, and I'm not influenced by anyone either. I just think that there needs to be accountability built and public trust. And so the criticisms around Lou's former job, and if he was a legacy person, is important because they want to build accountability and public trust right now. And so Ross's complaint, like, hey, can you come out and explain this to people and explain this now? We've seen Lou be able to share more and more and more. So I think maybe he might be able to go back to his NDA or to the powers that be and ask for more leniency or more leverage or more ability to say what he did to clear this up, to clear the air, because he can't move forward and have public trust if he can't be honest about what he did.
Shouldn't he have done that ever before he ever became public, though? I mean, yes, hindsight is 2020, but I'm wondering if he came out before understanding what the scrutiny of him would be like publicly.
Not if he was doing a national security position, he was underneath some kind of NDA in his National Security Council job.
Okay.
That's executive, right?
So do you think then that he has some sort of relevance in the way ufology is moving. I mean, he is still one of the faces of the franchise. He is taking all sorts of interviews again on any news wire, going once again, claiming that the reason why we switched UFO to UAP was because UFOs had a stigma about being about little green men and anal probing, pretty much saying that on a show recently. And that's when he said that's why we came out with more of an inclusive term called UAP, because it sounded more professional and more unique to what the phenomena was, which, as you know, I disagree with 100%, because I think it covers up a lot of man-made objects that go into that. But I mean, he seems to be all over the place again, whether that's because of his tour or whether he's jockeying for position and looking good in front of the media is one way to get that. I mean, what do you think is going on with him?
Well, we saw that, reputation washing is a strategy. That is one strategy. Get in front of the media, different news outlets, different people covering your history. So that could be one thing, that he's trying to get back into, be relevant and gain trust through the media. But I think things started to change in his story when we saw him talk to James Fox at his bar last year. It was in the fall. I don't know if people saw this clip or not, but James Fox asked him if he was a firsthand witness, and he said that he was a firsthand witness. Then he also asked him if he would classify himself more as a whistleblower, and he said, yes, I would, classify myself more as a whistleblower. Now, we haven't heard that before. He was not considered a whistleblower. He was considered somebody who left his job, right, at the time that he did, because he saw a blockade on this issue and he wanted to work for disclosure outside the government. So things changed last fall, and we started to hear more about him and more about his history. And so I said, mark my words, he's going to come out and things are going to change and Lou's going to have a comeback. And I think that's happening right now. The comeback is happening right now. And some people just cannot stand the fact that he had these transgressions where he showed these photos that were not UFOs. They won't let it go. And then there's this other part of his support structure of people that truly believe in him and believe that we would not have disclosure where it is today without Lou. And that is an uncontested fact. So I think you take the good with the bad, and these issues of, time sensitive had been raised for him to answer. So let's see if he can answer them and get clarity about what he actually did.
I think that's a great point. I do. I think we do need clarity on which direction that we're going in. And we're seeing the three faces of Elizondo right now. The public persona, the private persona, and apparently a whistleblower. I mean, look, this isn't about titles. This isn't about anything. It's literally about, trying to figure out what he is responsible for in this. I mean, he's one of the guys who's talking big time about what the government has. And yet we get videos from war zones. And guess where the best place to show UAP are? A war zone. Right? I mean, sure, I'm jumping all over the place right now, Courtney.
No, you're not. No, you're not. It makes total sense, because at the disclosure forum, all they talked about was national security and these acts of aggressions, radar being tampered with on our pilots, planes. And Chris Mellon brought up this 1950s incident of a pilot that went out to track some UFO over the Great Lakes, and they saw it merge. They saw the radar merge with the plane, and the pilot never came back. And so these instances of aggression are being brought up on the national stage to get support for national security. And the threat scenario is what we're hearing. So it makes sense. You're on track. And there's a bunch of...
And Elizondo has been one who's been pushing the threat narrative for 9 years.
Yes.
And yet, outside of the odd case, there have been no threats. Okay, now we have Tim Gallaudet going in and saying that the waters in the ocean are unsafe. So now we have the air's unsafe, the oceans are unsafe because of these UFO/UAP things, whatever they want to call them. And now I'm surprised that you and I doing this show is safe, because the way they're fear mongering right now about this entire subject, they're either A, going for some big time budget here in the billions, or B, there is such an existential threat that humanity needs to wake up that we're about to be invaded, according to them.
Well, yeah, there was even the rumor. Let's not forget the rumor 2 years ago, that was kind of alongside a lot of this stuff. And so you have, some object that was supposedly coming in, and people were in Congress talking about it, saying this is the most prescient issue of our time, and there being another existential threat. So yeah, it is very maddening. And it's on us, the independent people who are not being influenced by anybody in these circles, to hold people accountable for what they do, what they say. And I do think it's a strategy to talk to new people in the media, right? To have different voices and maybe to drown out some of the old voices. But I still think it's important for us to speak out. Absolutely. We have to.
It is getting to the point of frustration, though. And I think that's where I can even hear it in the tone of my own voice, that there is a sense of frustration that I just feel done. I
Yeah.
feel used. I feel abused. Like I feel like I've had a terrible one night stand.
Oh
You know,
God. It's an existential angst over all of us to see these issues, especially this latest debate about Lou. I mean, it's soul crushing in a way, because there's been these divisions in the field for so long. And to see it come right up into the main, the main consciousness, it's painful. So you're not the only one. Everybody's pained over this and feeling like, why was this information withheld? Why? Was it a strategy so when he got the job, it wouldn't be in the public record? Or was it something that he couldn't speak about? But it's an issue. So let's just give him some time. Maybe he'll be able to come forth with the truth about it, whether he was legacy or beside a legacy program. Let's see what happens. People are calling for the truth in this situation. We might get it.
but the problem is this goes far beyond Elizondo. Elizondo, in my opinion, is just the scapegoat. Okay. David Grush, I think, is one of them. I think that it also ties to certain UFO celebrities. I think it ties into a lot of government officials that are trying to make a name for themselves instead of doing the hard work. They pick
Absolutely.
UFOs, okay? And
Absolutely.
because they know it's going to get them camera time. I think that there is, I don't want to call it a psyop, because I don't think it's a psyop at all, but I do believe that there is gamesmanship being played, and it's not for the benefit of moving the subject forward. It's not for the benefit of the experiencer and finding out, dang gummit, where this is coming from.
Hell no.
It's all about positioning and budget. That's
Yeah,
it.
and American R&D development, which we heard 2 or 3 years ago that there was a meeting, right, between the CIA and Peter Thiel and the
Yes.
Lockheed guys for this transfer so it could get into Silicon Valley. And so we've heard this stuff for years, and now we're hearing it in the public. And once again, it's like a gut punch to some of us, because it's like, that's how democracy dies, right? With thunderous applause. It's right out in the open, and it's being lauded as this great thing for American economy and economic development and private companies and private corporations.
Courtney Marchesani, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We're going to continue with the UFO news. as we rock out in hour number 2.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
Whoever said Star Wars nerds, I am a Star Wars nerd.
All
I
right, Court,
picked
we're
this
just going to
up.
play a video here, okay?
Go ahead.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush-era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of gold rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
All right, Courtney is back. We're coming back in 40 seconds. Thank you so much to our super chatters tonight. We got UFO Sarah ×2, Pam Harris, and T-Bone kicking things off tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And all of you who are joining us, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. It helps with our algorithms on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. And if you're new here, please hit subscribe, ring that bell. We'd really appreciate it. We're here 5 days a week. Soon to be 7, people. Soon to be 7. We have an announcement coming up very, very soon. Yes, we do. Even Courtney's shocked by that. Here we go, everybody. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight, and the SOR Space Travelers Club, Gallanty. Gallanty is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam says the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Courtney Marchesani is a citizen journalist. She is an experiencer. She's a psychologist. She wears a lot of hats within the UFO community, and she is one of our top guests on Spaced Out Radio when she comes on in, and we really appreciate you doing that again, Courtney, updating us on everything UFO right now. Thank you for being here.
I just have to give a shout out to Jeremy Jones. He was just mentioning Schrute Farms. Well, when I was at the press conference, I went early, really early, and I saw Rainn Wilson there at the earlier press conference, and we know he's Dwight Schrute in the office. So a little shout out to Jeremy Jones for picking up on the Schrute connection. It was pretty cool. Anyway, he was there for a completely different reason, but I got to see him up close and personal. So that was pretty cool.
What is really the truth of what's going on right now in the UFO world? Okay. Is disclosure really a priority, or is it just word salad as of right now?
Oh, I think that what we're seeing is a systems change. You know, this new Science Advisory Council is to set up the whole scientific rigor, right, for the president having this council. So Chris Mellon talked very specifically about this advisory council having a filtering system, like filter 1, filter 2, where they can essentially get all the UAP files out of government and the intelligence community into the council and then filter them by sensor data and radar information, all this different information, right, scientifically, and then figure out what can be declassified. Like that's supposed to be their, you know, their part of their guiding principles. Well, it doesn't look too good when Avi Loeb goes on News Nation and calls us all crackpots. I mean, somebody sent me a video of him and he leads the dang interview saying, well, there's a bunch of crackpots out there, but then there's real, real information. I just thought that is not going to help reduce the stigma. Avi, like, find a better way to articulate your points than calling people crackpots. It just perpetuates that same stuff. So, to answer your question, I think that they're setting up a system. I think it should be time, time sensitive, or put a time on it, for the people to know there's going to be an exhaustive strategy. And if they don't get what they want, it's done. If they don't do that, it's not disclosure. That's my feeling. It's just going to be another intermediary thing where we don't get it. And like I said, if we don't get the 46 videos outside of this council delivered to the American public in tranche 4, for me, it's over. For me, it's just a delay tactic.
I want you to do something for me because I do want to talk about those videos in a second. But I meant to ask this last half hour for people who may not understand the terminology that we've used quite a bit in hour number 1, and that is legacy program. Many people do not know what the legacy program is. I think we need to define that for them.
Sure. So in the 80-year cover-up, supposedly, through the UAP task force and through David Grush's investigations, what they said and what they continue to say, including Gary Nolan, Eric Davis, astrophysicist, PhD level, what they've said and testified to is there is an 80-year back engineering crash retrieval program. Okay, that's the legacy program. It goes back 80 years. It's been consistently reported by witnesses that these programs have been in existence by our government, covered up, and they have been outside the Congress, outside oversight, outside essentially like democracy or democratic processes. And those legacy programs have gone into contractors' hands and been developed. That's the legacy program. Crash retrievals, back engineering, and David Grush also said biologics, non-human biologics, were retrieved and recovered as well. So that's the legacy program, to be clear.
How does the legacy program affect today's ufology?
Well, it's a total breach of our democracy, right? It's a 80-year criminal enterprise that's been running. Some call it a cabal or a transnational group with no oversight, and that it has committed crimes and misused funds, not been accounted for in any GAO report. So it's been completely, entirely without any kind of accountability or oversight.
Okay.
Did I answer your question or not?
Well, I think it does.
Come back at me. And
I'm just trying to, for the people out there who may be listening for the first time or have like a passive interest in this, I just want to try and, make sure that they understand when we're talking about this, that this is what it means. So I think you're doing that very well.
Well, and they use IRAD money, which was research and development money, to take IRAD funds, which are appropriated all the time for research and development. So they took IRAD money, put IRAD money into the contractor so they could develop whatever it was that they were working on. And that money was never accounted for, never accountable. There were notifications on that system that were abused by contractors and their status to develop this tech. And not only that, when Danny Sheehan was talking to these contractors about disclosure, there was some willingness by the contractors to come out and release what they had in disclosure. But in that process, they were negotiating royalties and things. They didn't want to give up their royalties, their intellectual property. They didn't want to give up on future tech that would be developed. So it came down to money and their bottom line. So there's an additional piece there.
Okay. Now, getting to the videos, the 46 videos, the one thing that concerns me about the videos, any videos that we have seen so far or the videos that were asked for, by Anna Paulina Luna. And that is the majority of them. And I'm saying a high percentage, almost 90% of them, are all videos from war-torn nations, places of conflict, or places where there is, a lot of unrest going on. Very few were over American skies. Okay. I find that very, very ironic considering we have, all of these groups out there looking for safe airspace, that military bases aren't safe because of what's flying over. The oceans now are not safe, according to Tim Gallaudet. Okay. We have all of this going on, but guess what is used in war zones? UAP,
Yeah.
which could be presented as military objects that we have not seen before, that have not been classified. Because here's one thing that I have learned from my insiders, and I'm sure this is old hat to you, but to many people listening, it might not be. Okay. And that is, the CIA does not tell the U.S. Army what they are flying in war zones. The Army doesn't tell the Air Force. The Air Force doesn't tell the Navy. The Navy doesn't tell the Marines. And this goes on and on and on with every cycle of alphabet agency and military organization that's going on. And when they are seeing things and filming things, whether it's orbs or whether it's jellyfish or whatever it might be, we can't claim that as UFO because it's in a war zone. And we do not know the secret technologies that are being used in those war zones for spying or weaponry or a combination of both. And I find it very, very odd that the majority of videos, when they're talking about safety in the US, are everywhere but the United States.
Well, I thought it was interesting and also very good that Merrick von Rennenkamp, when he was at the Disclosure Forum, brought up these American incidents. He focused on the Langley case, right? The flyers over Langley. He brought up the Omaha. He brought up this flight that I'm not sure if you heard about it or not, on a test range. Did you hear about a 2025 test range incident where these senior intelligence officials were out in a western state, and it was during some kind of military test, and they had jets in the airspace and they were tracking UAP? Did you know
I
about
did hear
this
about
case?
that, yes.
Okay. So he brought up China Lakes, and he said he just referenced that as one general location where they had been reported at. But he said there's all kinds of information on that case, and this was over the US, and there's radar tracks and all kinds of data and information. So the US cases, I think, are continually being brought up in various ways. And they're ones we've heard about, but they're ones we've heard about with the umbrella of drones, UAPs and drones, right? It was drones over Langley, it was drones over Jersey, it was drones over Long Island. So I'm not exactly sure when you're making your own case about some of these videos being in the Middle East, like Syria or even Greece. We saw a lot from Greece. You have to wonder, right, the difference between the UAP and where this counter UAP or counter drone offices coming in on this. I pointed this out last fall when you and I talked about drones in the Aero office, that they actually have a counter drone liaison between the Aero and the military. So I know there are some types of liaisons in place in order to identify drones and UAPs instead of anomalous objects. But it is interesting that most of the stuff that came out in that second tranche, especially, was military stuff.
Well, I mean, there's the other thing too. When it happens on secret bases like Area 51 or China Lake or 29 Palms or Dulce or Dugway or Wright-Patterson, that once again leads me to believe that we're dealing with man-made objects,
Yeah,
that we're not dealing with UFOs.
I get that.
And I'm staunch about that.
You have
Prove it.
to be.
But they haven't disproved it. That's the
No.
big thing, you know. And as long as they have the technical guys to throw everything under the UAP banner, people need to realize who are very staunch UAP people. This isn't a personal thing about it because I'm anti-UAP. But remember this, balloons can be UAP. A flock of geese can be UAP. Snow can be UAP. Ice crystals can be UAP. Drones can be UAP.
I want to bring this up to you. Because I think you'll appreciate this. In the forum, they were talking about this, right? And Arrow's office. And Merrick was talking about the case that really tuned him into the whole UFO issue and UAPs, right? And it was the gimbal for him. So he goes to town about the gimbal and how he had Ryan Graves console, and they, this thing is moving 120 knots, against the wind. And they got this feedback from Arrow, and Sean Kirkpatrick said it's a balloon and it's reflecting sun. And the footage was at night. The footage was at night. So it's like, I hear what you're saying, but in some cases they are anomalous, right? Like the gimbal.
I agree.
Okay. All right. So I think it depends on the high fidelity of the signals that they have around it, what it was, and was it in the military exercise like the Tic Tac, or off the coast of the East Coast during a military exercise when they tend to show up. There was a military exercise happening when the senior officials went up, and there was a UAP in that space. So I'm not saying I know what it was, but I am saying there are some cases where it is anomalous and it's not a drone.
Look, I am the biggest UFO guy out there.
I know.
And I'm not
I know
talking
you
about my
are.
weighty stature right now. Right? But when it comes to this whole subject, since the government people got involved, I think that they've split it. They're not trying to tell us about UFOs. They're hinting that there are UFOs out there to keep our interest up, but they're showing us typical objects that they're testing, and I think this isn't about the crash retrievals or alien bodies. If it was, show us. Okay. We hear them all talking
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
And I have to make this point with you because I have an email that I got sent to me from Travis, the Travis Taylor. He was the chief scientist for the UAP task force. And
Yes.
he wrote this big, long email. And it was from Jack Sarfati's email list where somebody said that the UAP task force was a sham. Well, he came back and he answered in this beautiful, articulate email about how they weren't given money, they were tasked, it was an unfunded task, and how they had these antibodies come at them from the Pentagon that tried to destroy their work. I mean, it was well done. But he made this final point about David Grush, because David Grush has come out recently and said he has seen, right? He said he has seen evidence. You're talking about evidence. He said he saw firsthand evidence of bodies and crash retrieval. So once again, he's doubling down on this claim that this exists. But before, he said everything was secondhand. So in the email that Travis wrote, he says that he is unsure why David has said what he has said, and he wasn't trying to throw shade on him. He said, but he's saying that David was underneath Jay and him at the UAP task force, and that everything that he got was from whistleblowers, and that he was unsure why he had come out and said what he had said. So I asked this question recently. Was this from a whistleblower and testimony that he took, or was it after the UAP task force? So that's something that I think we all need to follow going forward. Where did this evidence come from that David Grush said that he saw? Was it under the UAP task force? Was it later? Was it through whistleblowers during the task force investigations? So I think that's a very important point right now that we all need to pay attention to.
See, I believe Grush when he says that.
Yeah,
I
I do
do.
too.
I
I do
believe a
too.
lot of them when they say that. But where I'm getting frustrated is don't tell me that, Courtney, if you and I are going for dinner, don't tell me that you're taking me out for a steak and lobster dinner. We're going to have a nice glass of wine. We're going to have mushrooms, Neptune as an appetizer. And then afterwards, we're going to have caramel or strawberry cheesecake. And then you end up showing me the drive through to McDonald's, because that's what's happening in the UFO world. We have all of these speakers telling us all of these great profound sightings and locations, and UFO is so big that we had to build a building around them. Okay, crash retrievals, we've got aliens, we've got the craft, we're reverse engineering them, so on and so forth, and you show me dots.
It's just they're making it so that it's not one event. They're making disclosure this whole system. It's going to be this long, drawn out process. It's not going to be one thing. The only thing we have right now, from what I'm looking at and seeing and analyzing the whole field of stuff, whistleblowers, what they're saying, what the Secret Task Force is doing, what David Grush is saying. The only thing that I think we have right now that's real, that could be real, is those 46 videos. And if we don't get them, we're not going to get it. We're going to get put in this long, drawn out process of systemic building out what disclosure is, and we might not see it. We might not see those videos if they remain classified by this Science Advisory Board. And if that happens, that'll be a great tragedy for the American public. What the hell are we paying for?
Well, why do they
for
get to
all
see
this?
them? Why does this scientific advisory council get to
Exactly.
see them and we do not? They're not being given top secret clearance.
Anna Paulina Luna said publicly, this will unequivocally prove NHI exists. And many people on her task force backed her up and said, yes, this is true. So if they don't release them, then I think people are going to be really upset and crestfallen about the whole thing. I know I will be. Don't promise us this, that it's the proof, the evidence that you've been talking about, high fidelity evidence, and then yank it away from us. If they do that, people are going to scream bloody murder.
Well, maybe they should already, because they're already getting ripped off.
We are, an advisory council, science advisory council. Some people are saying, is this going to be a whole nother blue book thing where they just look at stuff and then they, keep everything classified? It depends on how much power and how much pull they have. They need the executive branch to give them access to stuff. If that doesn't happen, then they're essentially toothless, fangless. They got no fangs.
I get that. I can appreciate that. But once again, it's the people who lose. It's the experiencers that lose. And this is why during the disclosure forum, I was so shocked. I believe it was Kirk McConnell who was talking about, why are we not paying attention to experiencers?
I was so happy he said it. And he brought up abductions. It was the moderator that said, hey, panel, are you creating for yourself a human resource nightmare by allowing whistleblowers to have like more protections, so they can come forward? And Kirk McConnell didn't mince words. He said this is an 80-year travesty and miscarriage of justice, is what he essentially said, that we have not atoned for our past sins and made these whistleblowers whole. So that was good. Then he said they're going to...
Let's hold that thought. Let's continue with that part. Kirk McConnell talking about experiencers coming up on Spaced Out Radio with Courtney Marchesani. She is one of the best citizen journalists going in the UFO world. We're always glad to have her on this show as she comes on. We've been bringing her on every couple of weeks here because this story keeps moving and evolving so quickly. Nobody better on top of it than Courtney Marchesani. This is Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
It's good to be back on with you, Dave.
I love having you on. I do. I'm a big fan.
I feel like we're being a bit tough tonight.
No, but we have to at times. Look,
yeah.
I love this subject. You know, I love this subject. As an experiencer, I want to know what's going on. But for people not being able to see the shell game that is being played right now, it's ridiculous. And there are good people involved in this field. There really are. And that's on the governmental side, that's on the UFO X side, that's on the public side, the podcast side, whatever it is. But when you see, you know, I remember our good friend Nicole Sakich and I talking about this. You and I have talked about this as well. When you see the same names keep popping up, the same names get the interviews, the same names are on every group out there, whether it's the new scientific coalition, whether it's Soul, whether it's whatever Avi's project was. I forget the name, Galileo project, whether it's, you know, any one of these projects that keeps popping up, it's the same people who are either on the board of directors or consultants or whatever. And if people aren't noticing how it is all tied together, then that's shame on you. You know what I'm saying? Shame on you for that.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. We have to bring up in the last segment or at some point the French assembly.
The what assembly?
The French assembly. It just happened on Monday. The UAP French assembly. And I have notes from Jacques Vallée and everything and comments from him. So at some point we need to hit that. And also Daniel Otis is going to be at SCU in Canada, Toronto. We got to give him a shout out and tell people to find Daniel Otis. No. Okay. I'm glad we talked about this on the break.
Yeah, where everybody can hear. It's awesome.
They can't hear, can they? Well, edit me out. Edit me out.
No, I'm teasing on that. I like Daniel.
Edit me out.
I'm let's just say Daniel owes me a couple of favors that he's never paid back.
Oh, well, I have a lot of that.
Yeah.
I have a lot of that. Not from Daniel Otis, but
I like Daniel, don't get me wrong. I think he means well.
well, let me just clarify. He was Larry McGuire's senior policy advisor, was he not?
No.
Okay.
Daniel was a journalist writing for Vice, trying to get on with CTV News in Canada.
I'm thinking about the wrong person.
Yeah.
Who was Larry McGuire's policy advisor? The guy that we've talked about before, the inside guy, the really good guy.
We'll keep his name quiet.
Oh, we don't want to say his name then. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. We don't want people calling him up. We don't want the crackpots calling that guy up.
I just talked to him the other day, actually.
How's he doing?
He's doing well.
Oh,
he's
I'm so
doing
glad
well.
to hear it.
Yeah.
He's a rock star. I love him. I
I
admire
put his
him.
name in the private chat.
Oh, good.
But,
Good. I
let's
sat
just-
behind him at the Soul Conference and I just, there he is. There he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just talked to him the other day. So
Good. I'm glad you're still in
But-
touch with him. That guy's a mover and a shaker.
let's just say Daniel Otis got a lot of phone numbers from me.
Oh,
And then didn't give credit.
where credit's due. You know, nobody gave me credit for breaking the story that Lou was going to get an SES position with the Trump administration. Ross ran with that, never gave me a call out.
Yeah.
Those guys, man, I'm telling you what. How about me breaking the fact that MITRE was involved in the FFRCs and they never gave me credit for that either.
We need to talk about that off the air because I do have some ideas for you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you tonight to Matthew, to T-Bone, to Pam, and UFO Sarah ×2, for the great super chats. We appreciate you. And we're coming back in 3 seconds. Here is the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. We have Courtney Marchesani to the top of the hour. We're talking about the updates in ufology right now on Spaced Out Radio. Courtney is a citizen journalist. She's an experiencer. She is somebody who is in the know. And I'll be honest with you, she has more sources than I do. She's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Courtney, thank you for being here. And we'll get you to unmute your microphone. And we're going to take this story off right now. And, you know, we are in the precipice right now of some big things happening in the UFO world. It really does come down to trust. It really comes down to where we are seeing this topic head. And as somebody, as I was saying right before the break, somebody who loves this subject, and I love UFOs. I love ufology. I've seen UFOs. I'm an experiencer of abductions and contact and everything along those lines. And I think we need to really figure out, going back to what Kirk McConnell was saying at the Disclosure Forum about experiencers. What role do they play? Because McConnell is really the first politician to come out and say, what about the people who are being affected by this? What about the people who claim to be taken or used as hybridization guinea pigs? You know, he really got into that, and it was wonderful. And I remember being jaw dropped when I actually heard him say that, Courtney.
Well, we know that back in 2023 at the Soul Symposium, Whitley Strieber stood up and talked at the mic and said, I can't even tell my story in Congress or here at this event at the Soul Symposium because they've said there's a moratorium on hearing experiencer stories. There's no palette for it in DC. So that was 3 years ago. And now we have this disclosure forum happening. And Kirk McConnell says, once again, this is not okay. These individuals have information. Why don't we listen to them? They have information direct from NHI. I mean, he went down and threw down on the record and said, these people, this class of people might be receiving information direct from NHI. So it was in the forum. It was said out loud. It was a breath of fresh air for many of us listening. A lot of us were behind the scenes watching this from home going, yes, yes, he said it. So he delivered his message. He said that we should be heard. But then the moderator asked, well, you might be opening up this can of worms, right? You might be opening up a whole can of worms. So Kirk went through, I mean, everybody should go watch it. He talked about whistleblower protections. He talked about how to stiffen protections. Right now, they're mostly administration. There's no actual protections, and the administrative blowback is really what's hurting whistleblowers right now. But with regard to experiencers, he said that he believes that, well, he said to hell with the government. To hell with the government. He said we have to make this available to experiencers, and it could be done through private efforts and private communities to listen to experiencers, and we could crack this whole thing potentially outside the government. So that was one way he said was a possibility. That makes me nervous, of course, because I think of Enigma or these other organizations that you don't know how they're funded or who's at the head or behind the scenes. So that made me nervous. But he also said with regard to whistleblowers that there were efforts made to strengthen strengthen protections going forward, that whistleblowers need to be made whole. He talked about a restitution fund. I mean, he talked about having a sunset period where people can report for a certain period of time, then you close that. He's got all kinds of ideas and he put it all on the table. So I think he's somebody we should support. He's already taken on, I know, several people's cases who are potentially in childhood programs. So I think that Kirk is where it's at. I think he's got the people's best wishes at heart, and he's
Who do
going to
you
do that work.
Who do you think got to him to say, hey, you better look into this?
Oh, I know for a fact that the disclosure forum attorneys, Dylan Guthrie, Kirk McConnell, there's the other guy, that's, it's not coming to my mind right now, but there's another one. It starts with an H. It'll come to me. But they were all brought in by Ivan. They were all brought in by Ivan Handel. He kind of handpicked all those attorneys when he was still actively involved and was at one point made the head counsel and then taken off that board seat. But he's the one that put the bug in their ear, and he's Lou's lawyer. So
Okay, so when we kind of look at the whole experiential program, that surprises me that Ivan, the lawyer who was on this show, who absolutely went haywire, I'm going to say that very politely, about experiencers and people in ufology, that he didn't believe in any of this. It basically sounded like he was just in it for the press.
no, I think he had a change of heart and a change of mind because I spoke with him 2 years ago. That would have been 2024 when he had a change of mind and he had seen something. I talked with him personally and I said, it sounds like you have gone from a skeptic now to believing in experiencers. And he said yes. And he had seen something that changed his mind. And I think it's possible for people to change their mind. And so at that point, he became about experiencers. And I had another call with him later where I was like, I've given up on this. I'm never going to know. And he's like, that's not okay. It's never going to be okay for the government to have these people that don't know what happened to them. And he turned it around. So I think that people can change. It's possible. And I
Well,
think
he was
Ivan
only on
did.
this show within the last 6 months.
He didn't change his mind back. I know that. I know he didn't change his mind back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to believe you on that because usually you're pretty accurate with
I'll
things.
go and watch him on your show.
Yes.
But I've just talked with him a couple weeks ago about a case of a man who was a tragedy. So I reached out to him about that. And, he told me he was still working in the field, but not much. So he's got a foot in, but not as much as he was.
The experiencer side of it all, do you think that McConnell was kind of blown off when he started bringing up that topic? Because for some reason, the scientific community just seems to, they seem to get that twitch in their eye every time experiencers are brought up.
I think that Kirk was actually the person that spoke honestly when they said they were going to calibrate the panel on another question. What does the government know? Everybody on the panel said, oh, probably not much. I don't think they know much. And then Kirk said at the end, I'm going to disagree with everybody on the panel. And he said, I think the government knows a hell of a lot. And so then everybody kind of moderated their position and said, oh, I know I said this, but what I really meant to say. So I think he's actually one of the heavies in all this. And I think people do listen to him. And I think he speaks his mind. So I think that when he was talking about experience or issues, no, I think they would be deferential to him, not try to shout him down. That's my feeling.
I got a couple questions coming from the audience here. I want to
Okay,
get
sounds good.
Let's start off with Stargazer here, who is asking, Courtney, do you think some UFOs recovered were not piloted by actual aliens and they maybe are more or less alien space probes?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just going to answer and say I don't know. I leave all hypotheses open in my mind. I saw a really great movie, and I don't want to ruin it for you all, but I saw a really great movie recently about that, about the characters thinking it was an alien probe, but it really was our Voyager that was sent back to us from somebody out there, right? So I thought that was an interesting twist on get your you know what together. So I haven't seen that space probe thing too much in the research. It is as an option. So I don't put much thought into that. I'm sorry.
Either way, it is an interesting hypothesis,
It
that's for
is.
sure.
It is.
I
It
never get to use the
absolutely
word
is.
hypothesis on this show, so I'm going to use it. Take
Yeah, we
advantage of
have,
that.
ideas of what it could be that we test to see if it's plausible or not.
Why are NDAs valid for the legacy program if the whole thing is illegal?
Good point. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't matter. But because our government and our, our contractors are so smart at the way this whole things work and they're litigious, they find ways to make it possible to enforce them. But that's why they're talking about amnesty, and that's why they're talking about immunity, to take the NDAs off for a certain period of time so people can, without any criminal, sort of Damocles hanging over their head, they can report what they can report without criminal repercussions or prosecutorial issues.
Follow-up question. Do you think something big will be announced next week on July 8th, the anniversary of Roswell?
What do you think, Dave?
I think that's when they release the tranche, the fourth
Yeah.
tranche.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get the speech. Although Dave and I were both told there was going to be a speech, weren't we, Dave?
Yes.
So we were both told that before it came out by Mark, the UFO king, UFO guy, the UK guy. So we both heard that and heard it was happening at a high level, but it would be a gift if we could get the 46 on July 8th. That would be a great Roswell anniversary gift. But I don't think we're gonna
What
get
do
the
you
speech, no.
Speaking of Roswell,
Yeah.
it seems like recently there has been, recently as in with like in the last couple of weeks here, a resurgence of this is not aliens, this was Russian technology.
Germans, the
Like
Nazis.
if we're talking about a psyop here, I mean, getting back into what Roswell is or isn't seems to be a good place to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think that Jay Stratton and everybody has come out and Lewis come out and they've all said that Roswell was a downed alien craft. They've all said that and that it was taken to right pat and they've all been on the record about that. The only ones who have said it was a German, a German craft have been, I think, Tom DeLonge put that theory out there and others in his camp. So yeah, I think it would be nice once and for all to have the truth about that. No, extemporizing the evidence.
Yeah, I just find that like can we just if Roswell was a Russian asset or a German asset, could we not just get to the truth of that? There's nothing top secret about it then.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I know. I know. It would be nice. That would be great just to have that.
They keep gaslighting these topics.
I know they do. Sucks. Around and around we go on the
But
merry-go-round.
but let me ask you this then. Keeping the public in a bowl of confusion,
Yeah.
is that maybe the purpose of it all?
Well, that's what everybody's saying, that this whole thing is a psyop. Even outside people who are not in the UFO field, like anthropologists and some people from the CIA, they're saying this whole thing is a psyop. Now, why? I don't understand. Is it to divert from the Epstein files? Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what's being said, that instead of the Epstein files, we got UFOs. Instead of whatever, look over here, it's UFOs, right? Don't
See,
focus on Venezuela. Don't focus on Iran. It's all UFOs.
See, I don't buy that excuse whatsoever, because we were talking about UFOs way before Epstein was even known about. I don't buy it.
But it might not have been at this level, right?
True.
Of exposure and public interest. It was a subculture, yes. There was a strong subculture, but it wasn't in Congress like it is now. So these are just theories. It's to throw people off from what really matters. AI, the sinking economy, the inflation, look over here at the sparkly UFO object.
But this also goes to what President Trump said earlier today, which is that he told acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, I apologize if I got the name wrong, to declassify anything you want. He says, Bill Pulte is there. I said, you can declassify whatever you want. I told him, and you could do it fast as possible. He says, I think Bill will. So what does that actually mean? Does that mean UFOs? Does that mean Epstein? Does that mean JFK or any other the conspiracy club is looking into?
Hey, I don't know. Some people say Bill Pulte can't even find his office. Okay. All right. There's some serious criticisms about him, and that he's just being put in there to run out the clock. And we're not even going to get another full-time person to take his place, because he's got to go through the whole process of confirmation. And a lot of people said he doesn't have a shot in hell. So they can talk like that all they want, but it really doesn't matter when it comes down to it if anything is done. And like you've been saying, what has really been done? We got these tranches, yes. We got David Grush on the steps doing a press conference to the public. Yes, that was big. We've got the disclosure forum happening. That was big. But it really depends on what is done. So we don't know yet. But I think they're talking big. Yeah, but look, Tulsi Gabbard, before she retired here because of her, husband's illness, unfortunate and horrible, she was, having boxes of files taken out of her office, like we covered the last time I was on here. So there's all this footsie and games going on between the deep state and the intelligence community. And so that is what they have said with this Science Advisory Council. They want to get stuff out of the deep state. Chris Mellon said he had a guy who was an ardent supporter of breaking down the deep state and getting all this stuff out. The guy came in, started working, now he's out. So you have people that come in and then come out. So is this Bill guy going to be the one to do it? I don't know. Is he invested in it? Does he want to? We have no idea. Stephen Miller is the guy who I've heard is the most read in on all of this in Trump's camp, knows, chapter and verse on the whole UFO thing. It was Pippa Malmgren who said that she talked with him, and he's the most read in the Trump camp. So I think we should be watching him.
If Roswell was a hoax, how do we explain two different videos showing what appears to be the same being in one field, one on an autopsy table, both mouths were open and both with 6 fingers and toes?
Oh, okay. All right. So you're talking about the autopsy footage from way back when. Okay. I'm not an expert on that. I know a little bit about the autopsy footage, but you make a good point. If there's 2 different films with the same being, with the same ligature and fingers and all that, but I don't know that to be true. So I'm going to have to pass that over to Dave. I'm sorry.
I will take that one, and I will say Hollywood may have played an example of that. I'm not saying it was Hollywood. There's still quite a great debate on whether or not the alien autopsy video that was released about 30 years ago is real or not. I tend to lean towards the side that I want to believe it's real, but I don't think it is. So it is something that I think we got to be careful with. We have to
But
be careful with every video now.
the other video, though, was supposedly had gone into Congress. That one, that special edition one that had been shown in the 90s, that there was a rumor going around, and Matt Laszlo had asked Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna, and I think it was Moskowitz, about them seeing a video of the beings in their closed door skiff before the caucus was even established. After David Grush had testified, they had seen some footage, supposedly or allegedly. So that might be possible. I do know about that and have been following that story for a couple years. Possible.
I don't know where we're going with that. I really don't know where to begin with that story right there, though.
Well, Matt Laszlo asked her on the steps to confirm or, deny, and she said, I can't, and so that's the whole thing. And that's what Lou brought up in his criticisms about this whole thing about confirming or denying. It's not a yes. They're not saying yes. They can't say yes, but it's the way the journalist interprets what they're saying as a yes. Right? That's part of this whole thing, which is ambiguous. We don't know.
Well, a journalist's job when they're not getting answers is to read between the lines of what is being said, because the truth of it all stands in between.
Yeah. So we have to rely on the judgment and the discretion of the journalists covering this, like Ross, like, Matt Laszlo on The Hill. We have to rely on their interpretation of a yes, a no, or a confirm, cannot confirm. So I think that's where some of this gray area is coming in and why people are getting upset.
2 minutes to go here before we have to say goodnight to you, Courtney. And it's been a show that I can't believe there's only 2 minutes left with you. What do you want the public to know moving forward through the summer here? What can we expect?
Oh, I think that I believe in what David Grush has said. He said that we're going to see a process of disclosure that goes for the next 60 to 90 days. And we're in that window right now. And so I got to see him talk, in DC, and that was a monumental thing, I think. So there has been a lot of progress that's been made. And what I would like to see is the 46 videos. I said it repeatedly till I'm blue in the face. I'd like to see more high fidelity that will move the needle. And if we don't see that, I have to tell you folks, I'm done. I'm done with UFOs for good. If we don't see that movement at the end of this 60 to 90 days, it's over for me. So I'll just proclaim that, like the proclaimers. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's how I feel.
You're not allowed to leave ufology.
I'm sorry, but it's been 11 years for me, right? Since my own experience, wanting to know what it was. And for me, that's enough. And I've seen this whole thing play out, and I've gotten to the peak of it and the apex of it, and here we are. And if they don't do it this summer and they drag their feet on and on and on, I'm out. I'm out E5.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be like me. You're going to be shaking your fist at the Alaskan cloud saying, damn you, UFOs. Damn you, government. I can see you now doing that. Just remember, you're not allowed to quit before Caribou Con. That's all I'm saying.
Of course not.
Because that'll really suck if you do.
I made a commitment. I have heard from people on X. They're coming. They're coming. So I'm excited about that. People are coming to see us.
Good.
CaribouCon.com.
Get your VIP tickets right now so you can hang out with Courtney and maybe a little bit of me.
Yeah, we'll have fun.
Absolutely. Courtney Marchesani coming on Spaced Out Radio once again. We'll probably have her on in a couple weeks' time once again. Coming up next in hour 3, Swamp Dweller kicks things off. Then little Terry Hall and his famous mustache will be here for the weird news of the week.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
We didn't get to the French Assembly, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's all right. My friend, you were awesome.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you again soon.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's bring in the mustachioed one. We call him Terry Hall around here. How you doing, buddy?
Evening, old beard of knowledge. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I am not going to be on Walter M. Sterling tonight. We are having some problems with our cell phone towers around here. We had like a 4-hour power outage.
I heard that.
And I guess it drained the batteries of all the cell phone towers around here.
Mm-hmm.
The emergency batteries. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go on Walter's show tonight because I have no cell phone.
You don't have a telefonio. Well,
no, I don't. And it sucks because I kind of like doing that show. Thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney, Mark, Matthew, T-Bone, Pam, and UFO Sarah ×2 for the super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support, everybody. Here we go with hour 3. Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. We have Swamp Dweller, and we got the weird news of the week with Terry Hall coming on up here momentarily. But first, I want to say hello and thank you to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gallantly is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Something really weird has happened to me twice. I have told the story to some of my friends, but no one has experienced anything similar. So I am wondering if anyone out there has gone through the same thing or has an explanation of what this might be. So, the first time this happened, I was around 10 or 11 years old. My sister, who was around 3 years at the time, and I shared the same room. She was sleeping in her cradle, and it was sometime around 8 a.m., I believe. I just was woken up, and I stayed laying on the bed looking toward the direction where my sister was still sleeping. Then, what I thought was my mom walked into the room, wearing a salmon pink PJ she had on. Then she stood right in front of my sister's cradle. She just kept staring at her sleeping, which I thought was odd, but I didn't think much of it. Then out of nowhere, she said, "Boo," and disappeared. Right after that, my sister started crying, and then my actual mom walked in, wearing a different set of PJs, by the way, picked her up and took her to her room. I didn't say anything at that moment. I just stayed there quiet. I don't really know why I didn't get scared at the time. I guess I was just so confused. I know it was weird, but I guess I just didn't think much of it. The second time, something similar happened. I was in my senior year of high school, so I must have been probably about 18 years old or so. I was sleeping in my room. At the time, my sister had her own room, so I was alone. And I was woken up by the sound of my mom yelling my name very, very loud. It sounded almost as if she was angry. I woke up a little bit frightened since it was a school night, and I thought maybe I woke up late to go to school and she was mad at me because of that. This happened often, to be honest. But then I realized it was still dark out, since I didn't see any light coming from the window. I saw my mom standing right in front of my window. It was dark, but I could still see her. She just kept staring at me and didn't say a word. I thought that was really weird, so I said, "Mom?" And right after I said that, she began to distort, almost as if she was like a hologram. And then she or it disappeared. This time, I was really scared, so I ran into my parents' room and stayed there for the rest of the night. The following morning, I told them what happened, but they told me I must have been sleeping. I don't really know what happened that night, but I am pretty sure I was awake because the noise of someone that sounded like my mom yelling woke me up in the first place. Nothing like that has ever happened to me again, but I have always wondered what that thing was and why it happened twice, and why I'm the only one that remembers anything. It seems like time always stops when these events happen too. It seems like, I don't know, I'm like almost ripped out of time itself. Has anyone experienced anything similar, or has any clue as to what this thing or things might be, and why it would look like my mom, and why it seems like time slows down or stops?
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to both day and night. And we love it when he kicks off hour 3 each time here. Now, from the swamp to the weird news of the week, let's bring in Terry Hall.
Terry Hall's got a mustache, standing proud and bold. Curled up like a question mark, got secrets to be told. From new folks to Bigfoot tracks, ghosts that won't behave. He's thrown me to the headlines like a closet way. Weird news of the week, yes, strange, yes, wild. It's happy, happy, to unexplained falls. With Terry Hall and Paul, look at the stack and the sprawl. On Space Out Radio, let the Terry stop, dump it all.
All right, let's bring in our main man, Terry Hall, here on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How's Dave this evening? The great beard of knowledge.
Well, I'm a little out of sorts because, you know, normally I try and call you. Well, we talk a few times a week, but I always try and call you, especially on show nights, so that way we could have a good laugh and warm up for this. But our cell phone towers in town went down, and my cell phone still is not working. It's still not working. And like, this is the first time I've actually had that happen. And it's kind of weirded me out. All of a sudden, I'm wondering, did I pay my bill? Yes, I did. In fact, I paid my bill so much, I don't even have to pay next month. Right.
Well, you would figure that those kind of necessary things would have some sort of long, maybe, you know, a 24-hour kind of backup battery system on them or something.
You would think, but apparently after a 3-hour or 4-hour power outage, that apparently the batteries only last a couple of hours.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was weird. It was absolutely weird.
Honestly, Dave, that's got to be up in the Northwest Territories or something, because down here in Oregon, we were without power for almost 11 days. And the one thing we had that we could rely on was our cell phones.
Well, they failed us here in Canada.
Well, I tell you what.
You Americans with that great technology that you have down there. Damn you Americans.
You know what's really been blowing me away about all these videos you're seeing from the bowl goers, the football, soccer enthusiasts that have come here to the United States is what we actually take for granted here. And it seems to me like the big one is ranch dressing. I've heard so many and seen so many videos about people taking back, they're emptying their suitcases out of their clothes and loading their suitcases up with ranch dressing to get ranch dressing back home, because apparently they don't have it over there.
It's amazing. Well, you guys don't have ketchup chips down there.
Oh, yes, we do.
I don't think all of the states do.
Maybe not, but maybe it's because I live in the Pacific Northwest, Dave, and we do have quite a bit of bleed off in between the Northwestern Territories where you're at and down. I guess you would consider it south where we're at. So tonight, what we can do, Dave, is we can start from actually a story in Northwest Territories. We're going to call this one kayaking under the influence. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we had a 63-year-old man from Canada's Northwestern Territory. He's been charged with impaired operation of a vessel and refusal to provide a breath sample after being caught trying to kayak while drunk. In what the RCMP called the bizarre incident, the man allegedly stole a kayak. Only in Canada. This is okay. Only in Canada, Dave. Okay. The man allegedly stole a kayak and used a snow shovel as a paddle to paddle around Lake Marion. The CBC reported the kayak's owner alerted police about the missing vessel, and when the police arrived, they found the man in the water, evidently too intoxicated to make it to shore himself. They rescued him from the water, then promptly arrested him. On the water, the risks are higher, the RCMP said. Conditions can change quickly, and there's limited equipment, and response times are often longer, which makes these incidents especially dangerous for both those involved and for emergency responders. Only in Canada would a man steal a kayak and use a snow shovel as a paddle, Dave.
To add to that of Canadian stupidity with alcohol at times. A few years ago, a guy and his buddies were in their boat on, I think it was on a lake in Ontario or somewhere like that. Mm-hmm. And they saw a moose swimming through the water. So this guy thought it would be the right Canadian thing to do and jump on the back of the moose and ride the moose while the moose was swimming. And his friends put it on social media. He ended up getting arrested for distress to a wild animal and causing undue stress to a wild animal. That would be, and all sorts of. I don't think he did jail time, but I'm pretty sure there was a nice fine and some community service hours for that. But yeah, we do get some strange ones up here.
Dave, that's about as okay. I can understand. I talked to a few professional rodeo guys, cowboys per se. Bull riders is what these guys are. And we got to talking about it and how the whole thing came up as far as bull riding is they got bored on the trail back in the day, pushing cattle to market. One of the only things they really had to do was stupid things like that. But nowadays, with so many things to do, man, Dave, there was one time I was on Diamond Mountain in Utah, and I got too close to a calf, a moose calf, because there are moose there. And that I had a moose actually put me up a tree. It chased me. I went up a tree, and the moose stood there at the bottom of the tree for nearly 3 hours waiting for me to come down. Those are dangerous animals, man. I can just imagine he hopped off before he got close to shore, because I don't think I would want to be next to it when it actually got its feet underneath it.
Right.
So do you got one for us this evening, Dave?
I sure do. This is a scary one.
Okay.
This is. All right. So this happened in Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, where authorities say a 10-year-old boy is now facing charges after stabbing a Dollar Tree employee while attempting to rob the store.
A 10-year-old boy?
10-year-old kid. My 10-year-old kid can't figure out which Transformer he likes better, let alone trying to rob a Dollar Tree at knife point. Anyways, according to the Swatara Township Police Department, the child was taken into custody after officers responded to an armed robbery call from the Dollar Tree. And yeah, police said when they arrived at the store, the 10-year-old was already being detained by store employees. Authorities said the boy walked into the store with a fixed blade knife, threatened an employee to give him money. Police noted that the workers came to the defense of the female employee and they were able to subdue the child. But during the struggle, he ended up stabbing one of the employees multiple times. The worker required medical treatment, police said. The boy has been booked on charges that include robbery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Like, what kind of parenting is this?
That is,
mean, you know,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
he's 10 years old. Like, I can't even fathom. My son is 13, and he's just, I don't know. I know he's probably brought up differently. Probably my son hasn't had a lot of hardship in his life. This young lad may have had a lot of hardship, but I mean, wow, 10 years old, man.
Dave, where I grew up in East LA during the 80s. And I grew up in a very, let's just say, low rent neighborhood. Okay. Around a lot of gang members. And so I understand that type of culture, to where that type of thinking is not something that you're actually taught, but it's something that you learn. It's a learned by experience kind of thing. So you're growing up with, he's got to be around people who are doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not they sure don't go to a 9 to 5 every day. That's unfortunate.
I feel for that kid, man. I really feel for that kid.
And you know what? Here's another part of it too, Dave. Here's your tax dollars at work. A recently released video from the Pasadena Police Department shows one officer shooting another during what Police Chief Gene Harris categorized as unsafe and out of policy horseplay.
Oh, no.
On the Los Angeles Times, it reported during the incident, a police cruiser entered a department parking garage where two uniformed officers were standing near a police SUV. In a move described as inappropriate, one of the standing officers drew his handgun and pointed at the cruiser before putting it away and smiling with his fellow officer. One of the old quick draw, McGraw, and back in the holster type moves. In response, the driver of the incoming vehicle drew his own weapon, which discharged and hit the first officer in the shoulder. The officer has since recovered from his injuries, and the one who discharged his weapon is no longer with the department. The incident sparked an internal investigation, and the video was kept under wraps to protect integrity of the investigation, and apparently to keep the public from realizing just how stupid our tax dollars are being spent. This type of unprofessional behavior is unacceptable and cannot be tolerated. Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo said, "The police chief assures me the incident has been thoroughly investigated and appropriate discipline taken. And I support the chief's decision."
I would totally believe that too. My goodness, like, who does that? Like, honestly.
And you wonder why 10-year-old kids are robbing places. It's because the police are shooting each other. What do we have to worry about?
Man, that's like total John Wayne type stuff right there. Where the Duke would not be happy about this right now. My goodness.
Oh,
my goodness.
Some people.
Let's get you another one here. We got about 5 minutes to go here. Let me try this one on for you. A 79-year-old grandmother says she's been feeling left like a criminal after receiving a lifetime ban from every Sainsbury's and Argos store in the United Kingdom following a dispute with staff. The incident began while Rita Seymour was trying to buy Euro Millions lottery tickets from her local Sainsbury's during her weekly shopping trip. She repeatedly asked the staff member for the ticket before hearing them say over a headset that this customer is being rude to me. The situation then quickly escalated, with store managers shouting and flailing their arms before attempting to use a body-worn camera to record what was happening. Seymour admitted knocking the camera from a manager's hand, but insists she had done nothing wrong. I am not the guilty party. I was not nasty to her. I'm nearly 80 years of age. I wouldn't start trouble with anybody, she said. I've been in customer service all my life, and I've never been spoken to like this. Seymour also claims staff accused her of stealing her shopping spree before she produced her receipt and was escorted out of the store. When she returned that following day, she was handed a letter informing her that she had been banned from all Sainsbury's or Argos stores in the UK, including any gas stations or car parks owned by the chain. I am so dumbfounded, she says. I was shaking when I left there. I could have cried, Seymour says. And the 79-year-old, who says she has shopped at the Hooks branch for years, also denied Sainsbury's claim that the decision followed a number of incidents over time. I would never tell lies. I have lived here 45 years, and I haven't got a blemish on my character, she said. I am not a troublemaker, but to be treated like that, I won't give in. Sainsbury's defended the decision in a statement, saying that it takes any form of abusive and inappropriate behavior seriously, and that the decision was not taken lightly, but the safety and well-being of colleagues and customers always comes first. Seymour says she now has to walk around 30 minutes to her nearest Tesco instead of visiting Sainsbury's just 8 minutes from her home, and is hoping to have the lifetime ban overturned. This isn't the first run-in a member of the public has had with the company, as an influencer claimed she was prevented from boarding a flight because she looked naked. Wow.
All right. So as far as the old lady goes, this is when the internet needs to wake up. We need to start a GoFund for her, right? A GoFundMe. Get her enough money to buy enough stock in the company to get a seat on the board so she can fire everybody at that store. That's just stupid.
Or
an 80-year-old woman.
But maybe she's an elderly Karen. We don't know this. We're just getting one side of the story, and usually it's the company that looks bad. What if she was shaking her fist at the people and using almost swear words to curse out the employee?
I want my lottery ticket. I want my lottery ticket.
Oh, man.
That's like, give me my dollar. I don't even remember what movie that was from, but this kid, it was an Adam Sandler movie, and the kid chased him around all over on his bicycle. Oh, my dollar. Give me my dollar.
Oh, that was Better Off Dead.
Yeah,
with
you remember
John
that.
Cusack.
There you go. That's the
I want
one.
my $2.
That's
Where's
it.
my $2?
I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine, but an 80-year-old woman over a lot. This lady's being rude to me. Come on, man.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
We are doomed as a species, Dave. It's just all there is to it. You know? It's just all there is to it. But when we come back this week, not only do we have Florida man stories, we have Florida woman stories too.
Even better.
So
even better. I'm getting excited about this.
You know,
very excited.
I shared a video with you this week as well that I think that you and I should discuss, because something happened in that video that I didn't actually know was possible.
Oh. Well, we can talk about that. And
Well-
more, because the beautiful part about this segment, Terry, is that the weird news never ends.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
It never ends. As long as we have grandmothers stirring up the lotto booth in grocery stores, as long as we have Florida man and Florida woman, and as long as we have people trying to import weird insects to other countries. This will always be a segment of the weird news of the week on Spaced Out Radio. Myself, Dave Scott, and Terry Hall continue after this.
Is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
80-year-old woman, she's being rude to me. The UK is falling apart, man. And what's up with that? I mean, they got a heat wave over there. It's been happening more and more over the years, over the most recent years. And they still haven't caught on to air conditioning, man. What's up with that?
I don't know.
Sitting around in a 800-year-old castle baking your brains out. I mean, what's the deal? Yeah, that whole water thing, I honestly didn't. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I never really thought about it. So this is going to be kind of cool.
All right, we got 4.5 minutes.
Alrighty, I'm going to track over and grab me a fresh beverage, and I shall return.
You go. All right. All right. We have a couple people in our chat room that have already got tickets for Caribou Con. We need more. More of you need to come on up here to the heart of the Caribou region. Go to cariboucon.com. Get your tickets right now. Right now.
You know, Dave, there is something that I thought of. That creepy red house that you guys do your deal with. I saw a video of some of your clients the other day, and I mean, they're getting excited because your meters are going off and all of this stuff is happening at that place. Does that place have a witch window in it? You know what a witch window is?
No, it does not.
It doesn't.
No.
So the witches can just fly right on in, huh?
They can do whatever they want.
You guys need to put a crooked window, at least in like my front door here at my house. We didn't have any witch windows in this house. I was always raised, every house we ever lived in, basically, except for on the West Coast, had a witch window in it. So my front door, the you know how you got a piece of glass in your front door? I actually cut that one out and made the hole a little bit weird and ordered a new piece of glass for it. So it sits funny. I've got a witch window in my front, my entranceway.
No, we do not have a witch window.
You need one at that house. That place, now the more that I look at it, every week I've got to see that. Every time I see that in the ad, in the commercial that we got, it's like it's growing on me like the Amity house, dude.
The house is actually doesn't have anything dark in it. The other buildings that might.
Just ghosts, that's all. Nothing dark, just ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like, it's no big deal. It's just Bigfoot. It's only 11 feet tall and can tear you in half if it wants to, but ain't no big deal.
Right. Hey, what are those? We have one. We have one ghost that absolutely loves it when her piano is played.
Mm-hmm.
And you should see. I think the footage has been posted. Let me check here. Check here if the footage was posted.
And the one guest that you guys did that short interview with on your Facebook page, they were just over the moon.
Hasn't been posted yet. We have videos of the spirit going absolutely awesomely happy when the piano gets played. So
that one picture that you sent me, dude, that one picture reminded me so much of the picture you always see. It almost looked like a smoky, but you could see the actual person image. Ew, that stuff freaks me out, Dave.
all right, big thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney, T-Bone, Matthew, UFO Sarah ×2, Pam Harris, and Mark Wolf for the great super chats. It really helps us each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio to keep doing what we do. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. If you have already, thank you very, very much. And remember to hit subscribe and ring that bell and even join our membership. Here we go, everyone. We are into the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. It's the weird news of the week. Terry Hall is here, and I know he has a couple of great Florida stories for us because there's nothing better in the weird news of the week than Florida stories, Terry.
We got a couple of whoppers tonight, man. So the first one is actually a video that Dave and I shared between the two of us this week. Dave, did you ever think that you would be able to actually do a pit maneuver on a 42-foot yacht?
I didn't even want to think about it. I didn't know that happened, but apparently it does.
Once again, it's a Florida man story, and the police have not released the name of the individual who actually was the thief of said yacht because I guess it's part of a ring in an ongoing investigation. But during the video, you can see the yacht, and it's a beautiful yacht. 42-footer wide in the beam. As it's departing the harbor, it goes under a bridge, and then you see one boat appear from the harbor patrol. The harbor patrol catches up to the yacht and actually does a pit maneuver on the yacht. Well, as it progresses, another one pulls up, and it's just a continual onslaught of them slewing this yacht to the side, and it's slowing down till eventually they had 4 boats pushing it broadside and pushed it up on a beach and beached the yacht. So, if you ever wondered, yes, it is possible to do a pit maneuver in the water.
Did they finally arrest the guy? Did they catch him, or did he jump in the water?
No, he jumped in. That's the whole thing. That's pretty much where the story ended for me. I couldn't really find a whole lot more information about it, with the exception of they haven't released the name of the gentleman, and no news as whether he was apprehended or not. But in the video, you did see the man when they physically got him beached, him jumping out of the boat and running away. So yeah, I thought that the laws of physics would prevent something like that from occurring, or without a really bad accident, but it was kind of slick to watch. The boat just pulled up and kind of edged over into him, and the yacht slewed to the stern, started coming around, and it slowed the boat down, and they just kept bumping him until it was nearly stopped. They put 4 boats, one on the bow, one on the stern, 2 in the middle, and just pushed him over on the beach. It was quite unique.
Incredible. What about the Florida woman story?
So now this is kind of a shopping tale as well, because I've heard a lot of different stories about this particular grocery store being kind of expensive, but I really didn't think it was this expensive. This falls down to the Banana Chip Bandit. Anna Nichols, 59, of Vero Beach, Florida, was arrested following a crime spree that lasted weeks. The Smoking Gun reported her charge stealing $300 worth of banana chips from 2 different public supermarkets. It should be important to note that due to this ongoing theft of banana chips, the public deli manager has limited the amount of banana chip stock he puts on the shelf. The arrest affidavit once said in red, Nicole allegedly stole 13 bags of chips. Now, Dave, if you divide 13 into 300, those banana chips are $23 a bag, dude. So I guess that Publix is a quite expensive grocery store. Nicole's allegedly stole 13 bags of chips altogether simply by not scanning them when she used the supermarket's self-checkout stations to pay for her other groceries. She was convicted in 2020, actually, she was convicted, and this is the deal. She stole $300 worth of chips, but she was only charged with petty theft and fined $150 for a misdemeanor charge. So I guess the banana chips at Public Deli are $23.07 a bag.
My goodness.
No wonder at those self-checkout things, I've always thought that every time you do that, they ought to at least give you a pound of bacon for ringing up your own groceries, because bacon makes everything better, right?
I really try not to use those self-checkouts because I like seeing people employed.
At our local grocery store here, it's one of the larger chains. Before 9 a.m. in the morning and after 9 p.m. in the evening, they physically do not have a checker there. You have to use the kiosk and check out your own groceries. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're like me and you prefer to do your grocery shopping late in the evening when the store's quiet. You get up to that self-checkout, you've got a whole entire grocery cart full of stuff, and you've got to ring it out yourself. It's very inconvenient. So,
Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Let me get to one here for you.
You go right ahead.
Because I know you'll like this. All right. So with the 4th of July coming on up, and I know how you Americans like to party on the 4th of July. All right. And I will tell you this. And I tell this story
already, buddy. Nom.
I can tell you this. I had the privilege one year of flying to Pennsylvania to see some friends on July 3rd. And the second that we crossed Lake Ontario in the plane to head down to Pittsburgh, 90-minute flight, I had the world's greatest fireworks show.
Oh, I don't know.
The time we crossed over Buffalo right down to Pittsburgh and sitting over top of all of the fireworks that were going on below, it was an hour and a half of awesomeness. If you ever get an opportunity to fly into the United States or around the United States around July 3rd, July 4th, do it. Take a night flight, take that evening flight. My flight was at 8:00 at night on the East Coast.
That would have been a great business opportunity for this year in particular, because it's 250 years of independence this year, Dave. And they're supposed to have like the world's largest fireworks show in Washington, D.C. this year. A good business opportunity would have been booking flights for people just to fly into D.C. just to see the fireworks show from 30,000 feet. That would have been incredible.
Well, unfortunately, there will be no fireworks in the state of Utah.
Mm-hmm.
The Beehive State is currently ablaze all over the place. It's a record wildfire year, accelerated this past Friday with 18 new outbreaks over the past 24 hours. On Thursday, Utah Governor Spencer Cox took the unprecedented step of prohibiting fireworks statewide for the 250th anniversary of the United States, amid what he called the worst wildfire conditions in living memory. Cox's executive order creates a state of emergency, allowing him to suspend the enforcement of existing fireworks statutes so that the state forester can ban fireworks within city boundaries from July 2nd through July 5th. The order permits mayors to work with fire officials to designate limited safe areas for fireworks. This reverses current code, which empowers city councils to restrict fireworks only in certain wildlife urban interface areas. In a statement to the Deseret News, Cox clarified that once the statewide ban is in place, city leaders are free to lift the restrictions in coordination with their local fire chief, potentially eliminating restrictions entirely. Some of the spreading narrative about removing local control is completely untrue, Cox said. City officials have complete discretion to manage fireworks within their jurisdiction, including completely removing any restrictions imposed by the state forester. Saying otherwise, it's disingenuous. The order has upset some local officials who accuse the governor of encroaching on local authority with a one-size-fits-all approach that threatens to upend July 4th celebrations in communities with low risks of wildfire. Other cities thank the governor for taking such a strong stance on this and being aggressive to prevent Utah from becoming a site for the kind of suburban wildfires that razed entire neighborhoods in Hawaii in 2023 and in Southern California in 2025. We want people to know that we want them to celebrate the 4th of July. Barnes told the Deseret News, we want to celebrate it also, but celebrating it through starting wildfires isn't a celebration. The state is currently host to several large wildfires, including the largest in the country, the Cottonwood Fire in Beaver County. So far, around 370 wildfires this year have burned 155,000 acres, costing around $20 million to fight this.
My father-in-law lives in Vernon, Utah, and he actually did have to evacuate.
That's terrible.
But see, I think the reason where they give so much autonomy is, take for instance this, Dave. In Provo, Utah, where BYU University is, Brigham Young University, they do this thing every year called the Stadium of Fire. And it's something that everybody in Utah looks forward to. We got to see it every year because one of my very dear friends lived above the stadium. So sitting in his backyard was kind of like you being in the airplane. And like Stadium of Fire, tickets there, they range from about $100 to $300 a seat. BYU doesn't want to lose that money, so they're going to give some autonomy. But yeah, it's really bad down there right now. Like I said, my father-in-law, who is quite up in years, and Vernon, where he lives, is very remote, and they got the evacuation order, and he's been out of his house now for nearly a week. It's bad down there, and unfortunately for me, where the server is that because I work from home, but the server that I work off of, guess where it's at?
Right in the middle.
Bingo.
Goodness.
And talking about the 4th of July, Dave, we're in sync this evening because this guy keeps getting a rude awakening, and it seems to happen on the 4th of July every year. A 62-year-old man, where? In Sarasota, Florida, had a rude awakening when a Ford F-150 crashed into his bedroom, pitting him under the truck. The Florida Highway Patrol say the 54-year-old driver, who ran the stop sign before leaving the road and ramming into a nearby home, was not impaired but likely distracted or asleep at the wheel. Neighbor Robert Bond ran over when he heard the noise and only knew the man in the bedroom is still alive when he responded to Bond. Emergency personnel were able to extract the man from under the truck, and he remains in the hospital. Charges are pending for the driver who survived, and the investigation is ongoing. Oddly enough, Bond says, this is not the first time something like this has happened. For nearly 4 years. This is the 4th year in a row on the 4th of July. This particular man's home, the 62-year-old man who in Sarasota, house has been hit every 4th of July for the last 4 years in a row. The county even put up reflective warning signs in the neighborhood, which evidently failed to stop the driver. Bond hopes the next step is for the county to construct physical barriers at the intersection. I think that would be a clue to move, don't you?
Right?
Or at least put a big rock in the middle of your yard. Something, maybe a retaining wall, or
I don't know.
I don't know, a palm tree. I mean, you're in Florida. They could spare a palm tree for the poor guy. Come on.
Well, let's get to this one here. Let me find it here. On June 30th, 39-year-old Jose Semental walked into the Fairview Memorial Park, located at 700 Yale Boulevard Southeast, with bad intentions. This is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Semental went inside an office and said to the employees that he was the angel of death and he needed to see the records. When employees did not provide Semental the records, he pulled out a knife and then he waved it in the air and he said, "I could kill you, all of you, and I've been to Grants." I don't know what that means. Employees feared for their lives and fled the building to safety of the cemetery grounds, calling 911. The Albuquerque Police Department then responded to the office. APD started giving public address announcements for Semental to come out of the building where he was now barricaded all alone. According to the complaint, the police made announcements for 20 minutes, and then they observed him pull out a large silver knife out of his pocket. At one point, the self-proclaimed angel of death stepped out of the building, and officers tried a non-lethal 40-millimeter launcher at him. They failed to hit him, possibly because of his death angel connections. So he went back inside. You can't make this stuff up. Eventually, an officer was able to establish rapport with Semental and de-escalated the situation. Ultimately, Semental came out with the knife in his pocket, and he did not reach for it. He was taken into custody without incident. Record search indicates Semental did serve time in the New Mexico prison system. No kidding. And he has a record dating back to 2006 for minor to violent crimes. In this case, he was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and evading or obstruction of an officer. Somehow, I don't think God's angel of death, who was probably smacked out on something, is going to be in good favors with God right now.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being the two arresting officers there? I'm not going to touch him first. You touch him first. I'm not touching him first. You touch him first.
Well, just in case.
Just in case, right?
What if he is? You cannot be,
That's like the gentleman in the UK that dressed up like a cat as a black cat and only went out at night. He wasn't doing it to harm anyone. He was just like, turning the dial up on people, but he would hang out under a bridge in this park in London at night and dressed up like a black cat and wait for and catching unexpected people and just scaring the bejesus out of them. But so this guy's the angel of death. Huh? Well, I tell you what, we got Derek Shofis, 30 of Palm Bay, Florida. He was arrested for obstruction by a disguised person and practicing law without a license, Dave. What happened was officers in Brevard County pulled over a woman during a traffic stop and discovered a controlled substance in her car. The woman called a friend of a friend who claimed that he was a lawyer. Enter Shufas, who appeared on the scene in a suit and tie, claimed to be certified to practice law in both Georgia and Florida, and attempted to negotiate a deal for his quote unquote client. He could not, however, produce his credentials when officers pressed him. Further investigation revealed that Shufus was, in fact, not a lawyer, and he was placed under arrest. The stories just never end out of Florida. I mean, we could keep going. We could do a week of Florida stuff. I don't know what's in the water down there.
I don't know, but it's awesome.
It's certainly not the fountain of youth.
It is amazingly awesome.
Any place that you have a store that charges $32 for a bag of banana chips, you got to be crazy to live in that down there anyway, right, Dave?
Well, them banana chips, that's an addiction. That's a complete addiction. And did you see this story? 2 people were taken into New York police custody after climbing to the top of the Empire State Building, where they unfurled a large banner atop of the iconic Manhattan landmark. The dangerous trespassing stunt appeared to be an act of love. Police received 911 calls around noon when they saw the death-defying duo first spotted at 1,454 feet in the air on top of the building's antenna. Both were dressed in black clothing and face coverings. The trespassing duo fastened the banner with a large white lettering to the antenna that read, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace." After approximately 30 minutes atop the tower, the pair began climbing down the sphere and onto a platform where they embraced. One of the trespassers appeared to propose to the other. Roughly 10 minutes later, they began their descent, the rest of the spire. Body cam video showed officers meet them at the bottom of the ladder, and then they were taken into custody shortly after. Nobody was hurt. The man and the woman who were on top of the building were later identified as Ivan Kuznetsov and Angelina Nicolau. The couple are the same pair behind a documentary called Skywalkers, a love story, showing them pull off similar stunts on skyscrapers across the globe. Terry, thank you very much for a very, very entertaining weird news of the week, my man. I appreciate you.
This is where I get my news feed from this little guy right here. He's here with me every week, you know.
Yeah, that is an alien for our radio audience who cannot see it. But you do awesome, Terry. And thank you so much for allowing us to have fun with you each and every week here on Spaced Out Radio. As we say goodnight to Terry and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Terry Hall, and your beautiful mustache.
You know, the horn's going to get you one of these times. I'm going to get you to crack with that thing eventually. I'm going to get you with it.
Damn it, you almost get me all the time.
So, do you think we got another trunchet coming out this week?
I thought we did. I don't know if we do. I really don't. I really don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't.
And if we do get one, I did see in the chat earlier, someone in the chat asked where the Roswell files are. Well, our friend David Marler, who happens to be in New Mexico, I know has almost a complete compilation of the
Yes.
Roswell files, including the originals with the handwritten notes and everything. And from what I understand, what David's doing with his entire collection, because a lot of the researchers in this field, when they upon their passing, leave their records to him, their entire collections to him in most cases. So I believe what he's doing is digitizing all that, and he's going to be setting up like a place for researchers to go in perpetuity at the university there in New Mexico. The last time I spoke to him, that was the plan anyway.
David is brilliant.
If you want to know where the Roswell files are, head down to New Mexico. There's a copy of them there.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that.
See, we dabble in a little bit of everything at Space And with as long as Dave has been doing this, he knows the right people, so we can keep track of this kind of information.
Right.
Well, Dave, I hope that you and everybody who's still in here tonight, thanks again for having me again. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Happy hump day to you, and have a wonderful rest of your week. And I will see you all next week.
See you, buddy. Thank you for being the best. I love it when you pop your teeth out before you leave. That's awesome. Oh, I love Terry Hall. It's an adventure each and every time. Love them. Hold on. 15. Maybe I should make a tranche this t-shirt. Maybe we should do that. Probably not tonight, but we should very soon. There we go. Save. There we go. Podcast. Go here. So no, my phone is not going to ring tonight. My phone is not going to ring. We're going to be making an announcement about the weekends after the 4th of July. I think you guys will be liking what happens. I know T-Bone will be excited. Gailey, how are you? You're reading my mind, Gailey. You're reading my mind. You are reading my mind. Dave doesn't even see my apology when I drunk texted back in March. I thought it was funny, Tim. I did. Because I knew it wasn't you. It was your goatee stirring up the shit again. Your goatee is dangerous. By the way, where in Pennsylvania are you moving? Let's see if we can design a Tranche This t-shirt here. Let's go to Chat GPT here for a second. All right, let's go to new. And let's go to create. Let's creating a t-shirt logo that reads Tranche This with an alien leaning on the exclamation point, giving the holding up of his middle finger. Let's see how that works. Second here. Where's that? Right about there. Sure. Let's go there. That looks like a comfy spot to edit. Right here. Cut. Like that for SOR3. All right. Change the color of Tranche to ice blue with darker blue edges. Make the alien gray, silver gray color. Make this PNG form with a transparent background. I think we got it. We'll show you this in a minute. Once it's loaded up. The excitement is real. Second. Copy, paste. Give me 2 secs here, guys. Trying to do too much at once. Save as. Well, let's see how this turned out. Then I can show you. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Here we go. I'll show you guys this one. This one turned out beautifully. Just beautifully. There. Look at this. Download. Oh, yeah. Put that over here. We're going to make a shirt out of that one. For sure. For sure. And go like this. That's just gorgeous. How do you guys like that? How do you like that? All right, let's build a shirt here. And what is it? Printify.cam. My store. Just gotta log in here. So I'm just uploading the show. Go here. And let's go catalog new arrivals. That'd be a good ball cap logo. What time? They seem to got some good hats coming in finally. God, I need to get some good hats. Let's go like this. Let's go. Cheap t-shirts because nobody wants to pay expensive t-shirts. Soft style. There we go. Start designing. Put the logo in here. And let's just drop that in. There we go. There we go. And let me just, oh goodness, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why is this doing this right now? How the hell did I just do that? Okay, let's just go back here for a second because I'm screwing this all up right now. Yes, close. All right, restart. All right, let's go like this. Upload. Yes, I talk to myself a lot. And then we will go neck inner label. We'll put the old spaced out radio logo in there. Where's my logos now? Where's SOR art? Right there. Let's go with the white one. Bring it up a little bit more. Right there. Backside doesn't need anything. Now let's go to colors. Go to front side. Oh, that looks good on the dark colors. Check this out. Look at the dark colors. That looks good on the dark colors. Very nice. Let's get rid of the white. Don't need white. Black will look good. Charcoal would look, no, charcoal's ugly. Navy would look good. Well, that looks really good like that. And this one will be for FAP, because I know FAP will buy this up like in a heartbeat. We'll put coral silk on there. And maybe some antique Helonia or Heliuna, whatever that color is. That's Carolina blue. Oh, that looks all right. Metro blue. Stone blue. No. It's kind of ugly. What about Heather Irish green? Oh, that looks okay. There we go. Save that. So what do you think of that, people? Tranche this. I love it. I don't know if you do or not, but I love it. Save. Hold on. That's a good shirt right there. That's a good shirt. I did get some light colors in there. I did. I had some other t-shirt ideas that I wanted to do too. What the hell is it? Where did I put them? I have them here on a sticky note somewhere. No. 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 And let's go like this. Here the folder. Like that. Good. Who's on tomorrow night? Dr. Che on Biblical UFO Connection. It's going to be fun tomorrow night. Totally fun. People are going to be like, you guys are fun. Be like, yeah, I am. I totally am. We're going to be like, yeah, tranche this. It's going to be good. Okay, we're going to get this published here. Go like this. And there we go. I gotta change the color of that one so people can actually see it. There we go. Use that one. Save that. There we go. Ew, they chose an ugly shirt for that. Why did they do that one? Either way, you can go to our store, spacedoutradio.com/shop and get your Tranche This t-shirt. That was a good logo. I'm happy about that one. Dr. Che on tomorrow night on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for our super chatters. UFO Sarah ×2, T-Bone, Pam, Matthew, Mark, and Deborah Rooney. We really appreciate your love. Make that Deborah Rooney ×2. Thank you, Deborah Rooney. Appreciate you. And on that note, I'm going to go to bed. Love you all. Talk soon. Well, like 21 hours. Less than that now. See you then. Bye-bye.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.